All right, everyone, I am sitting in the car, getting ready to go out. This is going to be probably one of the last days of the year. I went to one other ramp this morning, completely froze over. So then I drove to one lake in the area that generally is the last lake to freeze up. It is still open, if you can see out the car window. I'm just trying to get up the energy to get out. Got a warm coffee to keep my hands warm. I got to throw the Striker insulated Denali suit on, get the boat launched. I've got the little Tim boat with me. So we're going to get out there, see if we can catch a few fish. This lake generally has a very good jerkbait bite all the way up until ice out. So we're probably just going to work a jerkbait. I dropped the boys off at school, took my time to get here. It's 10:09. I can fish for a couple hours. Looking forward to it, just not real thrilled. It's 27 degrees out right now. The high today is supposed to be 37. Probably going to have some freezing line on the rods. It's just one of those days. I'm just working up the energy to get out. Thought I would do the intro in the car, but let's get this thing launched. Let's get out there, see if we can catch a few, because if I don't, I will regret it, because I know in a few days we probably will be iced up. And anytime we're iced up, I just want to go fishing. So I got to take advantage of open water while I have it, make a little bit of on the water content, which personally I enjoy making more. I don't know if you guys enjoy it more. I think you probably do. But let's get out there and do it and see what we can catch. There he is. Not a big one. There's one. That's a good one, I think. Oh yeah. Smallmouth. Come here. Mr. 15-incher. I think what we're going to do today, guys, we're going to play a little game. For every keeper I catch up to 5, I'm going to give you a jerkbait tip, and these are good jerkbait tips. So this is keeper number 1. Nice skinny little smallmouth. All right, so that one was kind of a cool bite because the line just started going on me. It was almost like it just started running with the line. So the first tip is going to be, you absolutely have to line watch. And what I mean by line watching is not just waiting for the bite. You got to watch everything. So if your line, you know, generally your bait kind of comes at you. If the boat's moving, your line, your controlled slack is going to drop. So you should do one of two things in that instance. You should slowly reel up a little line or raise your rod tip up to keep a better feel of that controlled slack. That's a huge thing with fishing jerkbaits. And honestly, it's not necessarily to feel the bite a lot of times, it's to feel the miss. And a lot of times what'll happen if a fish bites it is they'll either push it Or there'll be a tick that you don't even feel. Like you don't know for sure it's a bite sometimes. But there'll be like something in your head that triggers, that was different. Generally, that's a fish that comes up and swirls on it and didn't get it real good. And the reason that is more important than feeling an actual bite is because the bite, you know, you've got that fish on. But if you identify an area where there are fish, because of a missed bite that normally you would not feel, that's going to lead to you catching more fish. So tip number one, make sure you've got a really good feel of that controlled line. That controlled slack, as I like to call it. If you're just kind of not paying attention, looking all over the place, you are missing a lot of fish. And that's going to decrease the number of bites. Because a lot of times if you get a bite, and you notice there was something different, maybe your line goes slack because the fish pushed it forward, you can make a sinking cast and catch that fish. If you weren't paying attention, by keeping that perfect controlled slack, you're probably not going to get that fish to bite. So that's tip number one. Let's catch another. I want to give you another tip. That's fun. No tip, little guy. Nope. No tip. Oh boy. I don't think that's a bass, but we'll see. What do we got? Yeah, big old pike. Ah. No tip. We're looking for keeper bass. That's a 14 plus incher. This is longer than that. I just want my bait back right now. Oh. Forgot my pliers today, guys. That's never a good thing. No tip for you guys. We're looking for keepers. Sorry. I kind of like this. I feel like I gotta work. I gotta work to give you guys a tip. I got incentive. one feels good. That's a nice one. This one's worth a tip. Oh. Come here. All right. That's a nice one. I love their winter colors like that, real dark. Likes the Stunna, 17-incher, 2.5 pounder. All right, guys, another kind of unconventional tip. Do not use the trolling motor while you're fishing a jerkbait. What I mean by that is if you want to move, do it before you cast. And the reason for that is a couple of fold. First and foremost, if you use the trolling motor, you're creating some form of noise and vibration, which a lot of times can actually throw you off, or throw the fish off, I should say. In this case, you know, I'm fishing a really clean body of water. These fish are suspended, they're coming up for it. That little bit of extra vibration, all of that can really spook the fish. So the first thing is, I don't ever like to use the trolling motor while I'm actually working my bait. When I use it is after I've finished my cast. So I'll use it, I'll hit the gas a little bit, I'll move up a little bit if I want to, just like I am right now, and then I'll take my foot off, make my cast, and I'm gonna fish it. The second reason is because if I'm moving, I start losing complete feel of my bait. Like we've talked about before, the jerkbait fishing is all about watching the line, the feel of the bait. If I'm moving forward, I'm gonna be completely off base as to where my bait is and how I'm working the bait. So you want to, if possible, stay off the trolling motor. It won't spook them, and it'll allow you to work the bait the way you should. Remember, this is a finesse technique. The slower, the more methodical you can work it, the better. There he is. Another decent one. He's got it T-boned exactly how you want it. Another 2-pounder. Come here. Oh. Got all 3 hooks in him. That's probably almost 2.5. All 3 hooks. It's exactly how you want it. Nice long fish. They're just cold. They're just not fighting that hard, but that's 17-incher. You can give us a jump. Nope, not today. So I had some issues with the GoPro turning on and off today, as well as losing sound on a few clips. In this case, tip number 3 was to recommend to use a shorter rod, something in that 6.5 foot range. And that's for 2 reasons. One, when you go to snap and jerk the bait, you're moving the bait less, keeping the bait in the strike zone longer. And secondly, you can actually work the rod tip downward more without it hitting into the water, allowing you to get your bait to a deeper level. Again, I didn't have sound for this video clip, but tip number 4 is one of my favorites. I call this the cow pattern. If you live up north and you happen to drive past a group of cattle or a bunch of horses on a cold winter day, you'll find that they're always standing with their body perpendicular to sunlight. And that's so a larger area of their body is being hit by the sunlight, which helps warm them. Bass do the exact same things. They will actually sit perpendicular to the sunlight so that their entire length of their body will be collecting sunlight to help warm them. So that means they're going to be sitting on these flats, sitting so that they're facing a 90-degree left or right of the sunlight. And because of that, I actually like to cast
parallel to the shadow that I'm casting. So if I'm casting parallel, what that means is I'm going to be casting either in front or behind the fish, which generally gives them a better opportunity to see the bait from further away and react to it. If I'm casting perpendicular to my shadow, which means that I'm casting then parallel to the sun, or perpendicular to the sunlight, what that also means then is my bait could be coming directly in contact with their tail or with their head. In either case, it's a smaller strike zone. So if I'm fishing a flat or fishing along a break line, I like to be drifting in a manner that allows me to cast parallel to my shadow. I really believe this opens up the strike zone window and prevents from spooking some fish because you come up directly behind them. This is something that really comes into play during the winter months. And I guarantee you that if you happen to get on a flat and you see some bass that are sunning themselves, you will find that they were always perpendicular to the sunlight so that their body length will be collecting sunlight.
Well, we were able to get you 4 tips. I apologize for some of the audio problems. Like I said, I've been having a GoPro that's been causing me some problems lately. I got to figure that one out. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned, new video coming out tomorrow.